Hi, it's Sheridan Webb here from the Training Designers Club, which is the place to go for practical L&D support, especially if you work on your own. And today I'm answering a question that does turn up from time to time in various formats. And that question is it okay to give people information in training these days? When I started out in training, and certainly before that, the trainer's job was to provide information. I started work at a time when the internet did exist, but it certainly wasn't common. It's nothing like it is now. But if you go back to the 50s, 60s, 70s, obviously information was difficult to come by. You had to study hard, you had to know the right people, you had to get the right experience. So quite often training courses were very much about the sage on the stage imparting information. Now, obviously, that is not the way that we do training these days. We've known for a very long time that that's not the most effective way to change behaviours in particular. And it's often said, and quite rightly so, that we should be drawing information out of people rather than spoon feeding it to them. But this does leave people perhaps a little bit confused as to, is it okay to provide any information at all? And what if people don't actually know? Well, you know me, you know I love the MASTER acronym, and if you haven't come across MASTER before, I talk about it all the time, and there's a very short course on the website that I urge you to go and complete. But MASTER stands for Mindset, Acquire, Sift, Trigger, Exhibit and Review. So the A is acquire. That is where we acquire information. But of course, how we acquire that information depends very much on the situation. It may be completely appropriate for the trainer to provide information. It may be completely appropriate to use your facilitation skills to get the relevant information out of the group. So, for example, if we are training people on customer service skills, for example, even if they are brand new to role, first customer service job ever, they're going to know a thing or two about customer service because we've all been customers, right? We know what good looks like, we know what makes us feel good, we know what makes us feel valued, and therefore using facilitation skills to draw these core principles out of people is entirely appropriate. And we know that when people find the answers for themselves, it's more meaningful, it sticks, they already have it in some sort of context, and they're more likely to do something with it. Where we may need to tell them is where something is completely new. So I'm talking systems and procedures in particular. So for example, let's stick with customer service. Yes, we know what good looks like. We know it means about being friendly, acknowledging, smiling, listening, all of those sorts of things. But then how do we actually use our system in order to provide good customer service? How do we put correct customer records in so that next time they phone up, they're not having to go through everything all over again? How do we process refunds in a customer friendly way so the customer feels that they are being taken seriously, and we're handling with complaints, all of that sort of thing. So the processes, why would anybody know the processes? Those are the things that we have to tell people, and we have to provide really clear instruction. Similarly, if you're covering something like compliance, anything legal, anything health and safety related, you can't just ask questions and hope people will stumble upon the right answers. You're going to be there for a stupidly long amount of time, and people will get frustrated. So it's very much a balancing act. So yes, it is absolutely okay to give people information. It's also okay to draw it out of them. It very much depends on your audience, your outcomes, their experience, your approach, and what it is they're expected to do as a result of the training. Now, in both situations, there's going to be a little bit of both, but I like to keep things simple. And if we go back to the 80-20 rule, if this is something new, if this is something that's legal, where people have to follow a procedure, then it may well be 80% of them being told, shown, that sort of thing, and 20% of them discovering it for themselves. If it's customer service, interpersonal skills, personal time management, it may be 80-20 split the other way. So 80% of it is them finding that information for themselves, and 20% the trainer, the facilitator, actually pulling all of those key threads together and presenting them back in a logical format to kind of neaten everything up and summarize things so that we can demonstrate that we've met the objectives. So, waffled a little bit, I do apologise for that, but the short answer is yes, absolutely, it's okay to give information when we are training. People do expect that to a certain extent, but how we provide that information, when we provide that information, and the order in which we provide that information depends very much on what you are training and who you are training to. Please check out the YouTube channel for more practical hints and tips like this, and also the Training Design podcast. And for even more resources on all things practical training related, please do make sure that you visit the website, which is www.trainingdesignersclub, or maybe even join our VIP community and connect with other practitioners just like you to talk about all things training related.